Hey guys, it's Matt. I want to do a recap, as I always do, for the day, and then we're going to look at the monthly recap for the month of February. I'm excited. It was a great past two trading days, and I didn't even capitalize nearly as much as I could have probably, but it's one of those things where you can say that, but you can't actually think like that. I had a great couple of days. Should continue to have some great days next week, depending what happens with the market. But very happy and a pretty solid month. So let's. I'm gonna minimize me here, my mug, and let's jump into some things. So let's see. Let's take a look at all the indices today. I mean, just a big day, right? New highs for the SPY. Q's had a great day. IWM bounced and had a great day, made a new high there, and then the MDY also. So, I mean, everything literally across the board just had a great. It's like a power up day, right? So, um, that's awesome. Can't complain about that. We can take a look quickly at what was on my watch list. Ignore the red arrows for now. That'll be for when we go through the monthly deal. So I still had BK on my watch list just because of this kind of uh, flat top breakout area here. Um, yeah, right around there. And let's see, we'll just run through these really quick. I have Apple on my radar just because there's this downtrend line. This actually wasn't even really my call out. This was somebody else pointed this out, and I was like, oh yeah, that kind of makes sense if it breaks that downtrend line. I mean, Apple's been beaten down. It's kind of been chopping around for quite a while now, but it's Apple, right? So you kind of feel like they might start to gain some momentum, especially if the rest of the market kicks in. You could see Apple start to roar back into shape, maybe. We'll see. It did have a nice bounce day today, which is pretty cool. And then we've got Owl. This is kind of one of the smaller ones. I don't pay too much attention to it, but and it did technically break out over its high yesterday, but it wasn't a breakout, right? It just barely did something there. So GPS, IBM, this one I actually, if you're following me, I've been keeping an eye on this one. Just I don't know why I like IBM so much. Uh, it's not one of the darlings for sure. This didn't break out until a little bit later in the morning, and even then didn't decidedly break out until even later. And I was probably gone by this point. No, I was definitely gone by that point. So I only sit for like the first 90 minutes of the market, sometimes not even that long, depending what's going on. But it just didn't make a break right out of the gate, so I wasn't even really watching it anymore. But it was a decent entry once things got rolling there. Uber, I actually jumped in. No, I was holding this. No, I jumped in this today. Yeah, I'm getting myself confused. Yeah, I was in this yesterday and today. Is that correct? Yeah, it must have been. Guys, give me a second. Yeah. Yeah, I got stopped out yesterday on Uber and then re-entered today. Confused myself there for a second, guys. I'm sorry about that. Meta was on my list, but this was more of like a kind of, let's keep an eye on it, but I wasn't so hell-bent on playing it. Would have been a nice play. CDNS, this one I missed. I just wasn't. I don't know. There was too much else going on, maybe, and I just missed it, or I don't remember what I was thinking when that was happening. That I was like, no, not that one. Uh, Lily was on my watch list, but it gapped up. I was loving this candle here yesterday. This guy. And then when it gapped up, I was like, all right, it's not, I'll keep it on my watch list, but I'm not really going to pay much attention to it. Uh, Max was one on my, kind of a smaller cap one that was on my list, but didn't take that one either. In fact, it was really I mean, if you look at the volume on this, it's just, the way I mean, it gaps between 5 minute candles and shit. I'm like, no, that's not something I want to deal with, right? So it was a pretty looking daily chart, but at least in my opinion, I thought it was kind of nice looking, but I wasn't interested in playing it. So SMCI again, this is one of those ones that I'm keeping on my radar just to kind of have my thumb on the pulse, but mm, not hell bent. This one kills me, and this is another one that honestly the volume's so low that it can throw some gaps between. If you look at the 5 minute chart, it'll throw some gaps between 5 minute charts, but and it's just been, it looks like, what did I call this? Like it looks 2-bit, like everything's just a blocky candle and it's really ugly. But there was just something about this little base, this little thing that was just building right here. And I was like, if it pops up after that, it's gonna go. And it did. I mean, look at the volume come in on this thing. It was really all on one candle, like one 5 minute candle. You see all the volume there. It just popped in. So I don't even know that my order would have been filled because the past 2 days I've set a trigger order at like 4.99 or $5, and then like a limit of 501, 502. Right? I don't even know that that would have gotten filled. It might have blown right past me, but I didn't set it today for whatever reason. I think because I was already in some stuff that was going well, just a couple names that are going well, and I'm like, I'm not gonna play around with this little stuff and just get chopped up. Uh, little did I know I wasn't getting chopped up. I would have had a pretty good size on this one since it's lower price, and the stop would have been super tight. I mean, we're talking like 15 cents range here from entry to stop. Like, yeah, my share size would have been pretty big on that one. But and then Carvana, this one's a bit of a miss. I really, yeah, I don't. Oops, that's not what I want to do. No, no specific reason, although other than this again, this broke out later in the day, so I just wasn't around and didn't see the momentum early enough to really want to do it. The market was chopping around a bit this morning, if memory serves. Let's look at just compared to yesterday. Yeah, I mean, you see like the first, what is that, half hour or so, and then even then it just kind of chopped around yesterday's high there, right? So. It didn't really get taken off until after 9 o'clock, and then it started a nice roll. I'm guessing maybe there was some sort of announcement or Fed speak going on today. To be honest, I wasn't really paying much attention to that today. Let's talk about Uber for a second because I got in this one at the very close to the opening bell. Um, you can see where my entry was around 79.85, and then my stop was yesterday's low. I moved that up very quickly today. So my original stop was down here. So I'm leaving it there because that's what my risk is based on, right? So then 1R is based on that risk, right? But when it was chopping around here, right through this area, I moved this stop up, um, probably around more like 805. I moved my stop up to just below this daily low here, right around this area, 79.29 or whatever that is, 79.30 area. So yeah, right there. Just because I was like, I didn't really love the action at that point. I didn't know what kind of day we were about to have, and so we yeah, just didn't feel comfortable with where it was going, and didn't want to take a 1R loss, but didn't have to. If I could make that a 0.25, 0.3R loss instead, and just get out of it, especially since other things were doing okay. Um, yeah, I was fine with that. Let's look at TPX. Oh, let's go back to the daily chart there. So yeah, this has been, man, look at that uptrend line. Jesus, look at that thing. Good Lord. That's steep, huh? Mhm. Yeah, when this thing cracks, and with a candle like today, that doesn't look great, right? I mean, it kind of got stuffed back down there toward the end of the day. This could roll over pretty quickly. My stop is 53.78 right now. So below yesterday's low. We'll see where this opens Monday, and then I might move that stop up even and just not give it much room because I've gotten a good 5R out of this thing at this point, right? So I mean, I don't capture all that because I take partials on the way up, but uh, still a good trade. And then we can look at the darling of right now, which is AMD. Remember, this is one of those trades that I took and the stop was low of the current day, right? So I mean the risk was really tight here because it gapped up, but I still liked it. and so I got a nice tight risk reward there, which means now we're up to, let's see, this goes up to 8R, so that's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13R, something like that, if I counted correctly just now. I mean, again, I don't capture all that. It's not a 13R win for me. It's just up at that level. I've only got 2/5. I've got 40% of my position left at this point. So, um, but still, it's a giant. It's a good winner. It's a feel good trade, right? Uh, so okay, let's do this. Let's look at my stats first for by the way, so those are the three. Sorry, those are the three stocks I'm holding: AMD, Uber, and TPX going into the weekend, and we'll see what happens. I mean, Uber could gap down and stop me out, and I mean AMD, even if it gaps down, I'm still gonna good trade going there. TPX and AMD are both locked in at winners. Uber is still open, so it's an unsafe trade at this point. Um, except it's not the full 1R. I mean, it could gap down past my stop, right? If we look back at Uber there, right? Technically, it could. My stop's like up here, right? Below today's low. It could technically gap down below that and then, take a 1R loss or even more. I mean, if it for some reason ended up down here somewhere, I don't know, something terrible comes out about Uber over the weekend. I mean, it could still crush me, but yeah. Anyway, I think that's probably not likely to happen, right? So, but there's no profit has been taken on Uber as of this point, and my stop isn't quite at break even. It's just below. So, okay. So let's look at. I want to show you my stats for the month. These are all my trades for the month with the entries and exits. Um, I took out all my share sizes and regular P&L just because I'm not here for that. Like there are plenty of people who share big dollar values on the tubes on YouTube and Twitter and all that. Uh, I I'm torn on that because I feel like sometimes knowing what other people are making money wise can be uh I'm not going to go off on a long rant here, but it can be motivating or inspiring to new traders, but it also can be a little bit like, oh wow, like that guy's making, I don't know, $5,000 a day and I'm making $5 a day. That seems like a really far away place, right? Whereas if we talk in terms of our value, um, which if you're not familiar with R multiples, you can Google that. Van Tharp was the person who popularized it. I think someone else actually came up with it before them, but they're not well known. I forget that person's name. Case in point. But yeah, yeah, I just feel like if we talk in R multiples, then the beginner trader and the experienced trader could be having similar outcomes with our multiples. It's just that the account size is different, right? So the the actual monetary, risk per R is just different for those two people, right? 1R for the small trader means $10 or $100 or $1,000. Well, that's probably not a small trader anymore, but uh, but for the big traders, it means more like thousands or, per R, right? And so, but if we all just talk about R multiples, then everybody's kind of on the same page, and it just levels the conversation and it makes it easier for people to follow along. I hope that's my intention. So anyway, these are all my trades for February. If you want to like look through these, we're actually going to take a look at the charts really quick. But like, if you want to see my entries and exits and see where I made some good decisions and where I screwed up a little bit, by all means, pause the video and go ahead. They don't all fit on the page at once, I don't think. Um, but maybe if I do that, well, no, no, it's just one too many. We could probably take this thing away here, whatever you call this. Um, it doesn't matter. So, but you can see this is really the column that matters, and this is a running total, so month to date R value. Um, You can see that it dipped into the negative a couple of times. And then at the end of the month, I'm up 8.12R, right? So if you're not familiar with R multiples, if your risk per trade is $100 and you're up at the end of the month 8.12R, that means you're up $812, right? Uh, that's if you keep your risk static, right? Some people will change their risk based on their account balance daily or weekly. I tend to do mine less frequently than that. Uh, just kind of on a monthly basis. I'll be like, okay, this is where my account value is at. This is 1R. I like to keep that in the low percentages, anywhere from 1 to 5%. Uh, R per trade, very rarely 5%, more like 1%. It's just the risk that I'm comfortable with, and I find that it's a little slower growth, but it works for me. I like it. So anyway, I'm up 8.12R. One thing I did, I'm gonna do this really quick for you guys too, because I was playing with these numbers earlier. Um, if we filter this and just show the trades that were either the R value at the end was great. What did I do wrong? I know what I did. Got to click more. So these are just trades where the R value was either greater than 1 or less than -1, right? So the bigger wins or losses. It actually improves my my month to date R value by taking out all the small losses and small wins, right? Um, there's two ways to think about this. You could think, well, then you should just stop doing all the little stuff. My dog's like hurting for some reason. I don't know what's going on. She keeps whining. Sorry about that, guys. Um, you could take out all the little stuff and you'd probably do better, right? Except, if we take the filter away, some of these little ones were those are losses that you're taking to get some of those big shots, right? So without some of these little losses, you won't get those big wins, right? If that makes sense. So, I mean, there's really not much you can glean from this unless you looked into each trade and figured out like, okay, well, on some of these, I know there's at least one or two of these where like I moved my stop up a little too quickly. In fact, Uber yesterday on the 29th was one of those cases, right? I talked about that in my daily review that I it hit 1R and I moved my stop up too quickly and it stopped me out and then had a good day. In fact, we could probably look at that really quick because I think we're on Uber here, right? So if you look at yesterday, this day, right? I got in, shit, hold on. Let's look at these 2 days. It was this day that I got in on, but I got in at the break here and then had moved my stop up to the lows of day, not even break even, right? Um, and I got stopped out and then it ran, right? Now, luckily I got back in Uber today and had a pretty decent day, but imagine having my original entry, instead of being here, my entry is down here, right? That's would have that would be nice, right? So that's one of those things where I move my entry or my stop up a little too quickly. So when you're looking at this, you can see this, a 0.57 R loss there. Uh, if I hadn't moved my stop, if I had just trusted the system, just let it play out, I probably, I'd be having a better trade on Uber now. Anyway, it's all conjecture. I mean, sometimes you just get a feel and you think, I don't like the action here. I'm going to move that stop up. If it makes you feel safer that way, um, sometimes that's better, right? Because you can think of it too, like if you start getting, if you're so rigid with your system and you're like, I either take a 1R stop or it goes forever, right? Like that's your system. If you can do that over time and it wins, and that's fine for you, right? But the if the thought of taking 1R stops is holding you back from entering into trades because you're like, oh, I don't want to take a loss here. When you could be a little bit more flexible and say, okay, I'm gonna enter this trade, and then if it doesn't work out pretty quickly, like if this isn't like a breakout and go kind of trade, I'm just gonna move my stop up, and I won't take 1R. I'll take half an R or 0.25 or whatever. Um, if that's letting you get in trades that have the potential to become runners, that might be better in the long run, right? There's other traders too who will like put a partial out there and then they add to their trade as it starts to develop and go in the right direction. But that's all. I'm getting way off track here, but hopefully that's helpful to someone listening. Uh, if not, whatever, just click on the X and get the hell out of this video. Go watch somebody else. I'm not supposed to tell you guys that. That's like a bad creator habit there. Um, I've also noticed I don't ever tell you guys to like hit the like button or subscribe or comment or any of that stuff, but you can if you want. In fact, it would be great to hear more comments. I'd love to know like what other things. Hey, buddy, you doing okay? We went for a pretty good sprint session today, and I think she's a little sore, the pup. But yeah, I'd love to hear more comments about what other kind of things I could get into that would be educational for you guys, or uh, thanks for shaking the whole desk there, buddy. I appreciate that. What other things would be educational for you guys, or what kind of things you'd like to see in videos. So, all right, I'm going to move this off screen, and then we're just going to take a what I hope is a quick run here through uh, through these trades for the month. So let's do this, and also let's do that. Okay, we're just going to look at the month and just see okay, I'm REO. I took these are the red arrows. Those are my entry points, right? That was a 0.41 R trade. Not so shabby. I'm just kind of looking for here's AAL. That was a 0.47 R trade, right? Not so bad. And then this one, we'll do them in order. This is where I took AAL and Jets together. This one I think was a smaller 0.21 R trade. Had a pretty good start to the month here. I mean, they were little base hits, but base hits add up. Here's S. This was a 0.03 R trade, so basically a scratch. PYXS was a small 0.13 R trade, and then I took a couple of trades on toll and 0.3 R, 0.37 R loss and a 0.24 R win. So overall small loss on both those, if you combine the trades. Path. This was a pretty good. It was 0.99 R trade. It looks like it could have been more than that, right? I mean, but I don't know. I guess my risk was here. Let's draw that out really quick. Let's investigate this. What was my the only thing with this chart, I don't put my stops in. I should do that. Oh, I didn't get in until like up here. Holy Christ. What the hell was I doing? I didn't get in until up here. So yeah, that makes sense then, I guess. If maybe my risk was low of day. Yeah, okay. I see what I did there. Man, why did I get in so high? I guess I was chasing a bit. Anywho, that's gap. That was a 0.16 R loss. AMD that day was a 0.16 R loss. You can see I took multiple shots at AMD here. That's actually probably a pretty good. Let's talk about that for a second. So AMD for the month, 0.16 R loss. And then what's the other date here? Valentine's Day. Said incorrectly on purpose. AMD 0.67 R loss, so that's what 0.83 R loss so far, and then the current trade, which is at least a 3.9 R win, right? So anyway, you can see sometimes you got to take multiple shots to make these things work, right? Okay, where were we? So let me know, guys, if this is helpful at all. Actually, I'll see it. If this isn't helpful, I'll just see the viewership just just tank after a certain time. If this stuff isn't helpful, then I'll stop doing it. I don't care. It's helpful for me. I already did this on my own and looked through these. But okay, Upstart was a 1.03 R loss. I could probably just pull out some of these and through the highlights. So I guess that's the thing is like so much YouTube and Twitter content is about the highlights and like the hey, look at the win I had, and hey, look at this huge loss I had. And it doesn't really get across the fact that I think a lot of trading is just little dinks, right? It's like, oh, I got a base hit. Oh, I ground out. Oh, I got a hit. I got a base hit, and then I stole second, and then I got caught at third. Like, right, to use terrible baseball analogies, but it doesn't show that like most of trading is sitting there being bored and not having huge wins or losses, right? Hopefully, never having huge losses, right, or very rarely, as rarely as possible. Um, but it's yeah, so I feel like I could pull out some of these trades that are like, here's the highlights, guys. Here's this giant trade on AMD and a nice one on TPX and that one that I did on IMNM back in the middle of the month, right? And here they are. They look great, right? But that it just doesn't convey what trading actually looks like. So I feel like I'm just going to go through all these, and if any of you are still here, then you're coming along for the ride. So Rocket was a 0.42 R loss. This is the second AMD trade there, the 0.67 R loss. I am just going to rip through some of these though. Path 0.55 R loss. The second, I just pointed to it on the screen. Like you can see, you can see my finger. This one 0.55 R loss. Calv, CALV, KALV, sorry, 0.91 R loss. So one of the bigger losses I took. And then here we go. This is a nice 4.2 R win, all in one day, basically. Uh, I think I ended up like my highest profit was 25.2, 25.12, and then I got stopped out here the next day on the rest of it, whatever was left. American Airlines, yeah, this one's a funny one, right? Because it's a 0.55 R loss, but look at the chart, right? Like, how did I manage to F that one up so bad? That's how it goes sometimes. Yeah, I mean, we could look inside that. I'm sure I did that on a recap on the daily, but it's probably one of those things where I hit one R and then I move my stop to break even or something. No, that can't be either because it's 0.55 R loss. Yeah, I must have just not liked the action or something. So that's one of those ones. This one's a killer too. XBI. Oof. Got stopped out on that one as it was a 0.25 winner. I took profit. It hit me at break even and it took off for the rest of the day. And then you can see what it did the next couple of days there, right? That would have been a giant winner if and that was me following my system, right? That was take profit at 1R, the small profit at 1R, move stop to break even. Okay. Um, it just didn't work out in that sense. That's the thing with systems, guys, is that sometimes the system is going to make you look stupid. But if you don't follow some sort of system or guidelines, then what are you even doing? TPX, this one's still open. It's currently a 3.22 R win if I get stopped out where my stop is now, which is below yesterday's low, I think. Somewhere in there. App was a loss of 0.51. Shaq was a 0.03 R winner. Big money there. That's likely one of those ones where, took profit and then moved stop to break even and got hit. Coin 2.53 R win. Got stopped out on this one yesterday as it because I moved my stop up to the lows here. Um, that was one of those again, maybe too aggressive. Maybe my stop should have still been down here. I'd still be in this trade, and who knows what happens Monday if we get some strength back in that name. But I was happy with that. I can always re-enter. Fate, unless it gaps up, then I probably won't re-enter. Fate, this was a 1.11 R loss. I think this was my biggest loss of the month, which is kind of a bummer, but it happens. That was a really quick one, actually. I think I was like enter, turned around, stopped me out. I think to let's go back to that actually for a second. Yeah, no, that was. I think that's what happened. I entered at the high of the previous day, and then it just turned around and ripped me, which is fine. That happens sometimes. It sucks in the moment, but whatever. Jets 0.53 R loss there. I'd take that trade again. Looking at it now, TSM 0.46 R loss. Yeah, I don't know why I got so silly about that name. GCT, this is another one. It was like a small zero point zero 0.09 R loss. Again, moving my stop up maybe a little too, well, no. I don't know. Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I like this. I guess the miss was here not getting back in. I'm okay with the stop out. It's just the miss of for some reason taking my eyes off it and getting kind of frustrated, even though I loved the higher lows it was making here. And then, yeah, I don't know. I'm a little frustrated on that one because of not getting back in. Lyft was a 0.29 R win. That reeks of taking a 1 R, taking a quarter off at 1 R, and then moving stop to break even. BK was a 0.02 R win. AMD, we know that one, right? That's the big one. Gone over that one already. Net was a 0.36 R loss. Uber yesterday was a 0.36. Nope, sorry, 0.57 R loss, right? Again, that was the one where I moved probably my stop to break even or moved it to low days too quickly. And then Biohaven, this is one of those kind of pharmaceutical names that I should maybe not even be paying attention to. But for some reason, I liked the look. I don't even know what the hell I was looking at. I mean, it is consolidating if you zoom out a little bit. If we pull up the time frame a little bit, right? Like it made some pretty good runs here, and it's so sloppy. It was nice and tight here. Yeah, I really don't. I don't know what the hell I'm thinking with this one. I don't. Sometimes I look at a chart and I just get really like drawn into it, and if I, anybody standing over my shoulder would be like, "That looks like dog shit," and then I'd go, "Oh yeah, it does," right? Uh, so maybe that's what I need. I need somebody to stand here and tell me stuff looks like dog shit sometimes because you see it got nice and tight here. Actually, like I mean, pulled back, got tight here. It had a day, got tight again. I could see maybe taking that, but like it's just loosening up here, and I don't know. And then today's candle is all over the place. Yeah, I don't know why I got so excited about that. Anyway, those are the trades for the month, guys. And again, 8.1 R, 8.12 R for the month is good. Oh, you know what I wanted to maybe play with is for those of you who are thinking like, oh, eight, I don't even know I need to do this on the calculator, but 8 R, if you could do 8 R per month in a year, that's like 150% on your account, right? So if you start with $1,000, by the end of the year, it's $2,500 roughly, if you do the math. Just pull up a compound interest equation and do 8% per month. Because if so, that's also considering if 1 R is 1% of your account, right? Uh, then that's if you did 8% a month, then that would be 150% on your account at the end of the year. If 1 R is more than 1%, then you're talking about quite a bit more, right? Uh, if you're a 5% 1 R person, with 1 R equals 5% of your account, then we could do the math on that, but it would be quite a bit more, right? But there's more risk with that too when you go through drawdowns. That's if you could do 8 R per month, right? But you go through drawdowns with that, it's with a higher risk like that, it's going to hurt a lot more. So anyway, we'll see. For the year, let's see. Yeah, for the year right now, I'm up 25.27 R. So that's pretty good. I had a good January. Don't think I was making videos yet in January, but had a good January. So anyway, guys, that's it. I think. Look at me, my big ugly mug. Guys, really, if you're still here, awesome. Thank you for watching. I know I do a lot of rambling, and I hope the stuff that I go over, even on my ramblings and rants, is helpful. And man, throw me a comment and just let me know, what you like about it, what I could do better. Not only from like a material standpoint, but I don't know, could I set things up better? Like I'm not a YouTuber by any means. So just fill me in on what I could do better for you guys, and I'd love to love to help out. And yeah, anyway, I'll see you guys maybe over the weekend. I've got some videos ideas bouncing around up here. So I might put something out more of another longer form instructional sort of video about some psych stuff, or I might even do one on R multiples for those of you who aren't familiar, and how I use them. But yeah, that actually sounds fun because that little bit that I just talked about, we could go over that. Anyway, I'm talking too much. I'll see you guys either over the weekend or Monday for the recap. Adios.